There are two types of fund manager, active and passive. Active managers try to beat the market through stock selection and market timing. Passive managers simply aim to capture the market return. In theory, actively managed funds would be worth investing in if they consistently beat the market. But as Morningstar's active-passive barometer shows us, very few of them do.
You could sort of think of it as league tables for active fund managers. So one of the questions that we commonly and understandably get is, how are active managers doing? Are they beating their benchmarks? Are they proving their mettle? And so we use the active passive barometer to convey that information to the users that we serve. And what the active passive barometer does, it groups funds by their investment style, in our parlance, their Morningstar category, and it compares their performance over different trailing periods to relevant benchmarks. And what we do is we literally tally up the number of active funds versus that have beaten their benchmarks, how many started the period.
There's a similar ongoing scorecard called SPIVA, which paints a rather grim picture of active fund performance. So what does Morningstar's barometer show?
Generally speaking, not a pretty picture, which I think is pretty consistent with some of the other studies like it that you would have seen. To give you an idea, for U.S. large cap equity managers over the trailing 10 years, around, call it 10-15% of the active funds that started survived to the end of the 10-year period and beat their benchmark. So it's been a very unforgiving environment for active large cap managers. There are some areas where the sledding hasn't been quite as tough for active funds. So as you move down cap towards small and mid, the success rates inch up a little bit, though not much higher than a 50-50 coin flip. So too, as you look at international markets, there the success rates have been a little bit higher, though not much better than 50-50 odds.
Another problem active investors face is trying to choose a fund in advance that will outperform. It's extremely hard to do, although the best performing funds tend to have one thing in common: lower fees.
One of the things that my colleagues look at is success rates by expense quintile. So they basically, for a given category, they'll go through and they will sort the active funds by the expenses that they charge, the cheapest 20%, the next 20% after that. And what they have consistently found is that the cheapest active funds in a given area enjoy substantially better odds of outperforming the benchmark than do the priciest, sometimes by a factor of 2-to-1, 3-to-1. It varies depending on the area, but when you look at the universe as a whole, that is a trend that tends to hold true.
Cost, therefore, makes a big difference to net returns. By avoiding active funds altogether and using passive or broadly passive funds, which are much cheaper, you maximize your chances of a successful investment experience.